Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shea Station podcast. It is Friday, June 17th. This is episode 75, kind of a milestone, which is pretty cool. 3/4 of the way to the big 100. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jack, aka Jolly Olive, reporting from home because I am zooming to Atlantic City right after this episode is recorded. We're bright and early again, and Jerry, my co-host, is joining me from yet another unidentified location. He wanted to wait till we were on air to tell me where he's at. So what's up?
First of all, good luck in Atlantic City.
Thank you very much.
That'll be great. I believe I am in Waterloo, New York, between Rochester and Syracuse. I was in Detroit. I had a flight out. I'm doing the pre and post game starting today.
Nice.
My flight got delayed, canceled again. And so I had to figure out how to get there. There was no flights this morning, all booked up. And so I had to lie to a rental car company and say, I'm going to bring that thing back because I am not. I will be leaving this car in New York City. So I will be driving another, I think it's like 4 hours more today. Okay. I got in at like 3:30 last night. But this is how you become elite. This is what greatness looks like. This is dedication.
This is the adversity.
Yet another airport debacle, fiasco, if you will. Jeez. But I'm here. I'm happy to be here with you, Jolly, this morning. It's a great morning.
Thank you very much, Jerry. So we've had you record from an airport. We've had you record from some random place in New York, far off of where you're supposed to be. We've had you record on vacation this year with your family. I feel bad, sir, but you're very dedicated to the grind.
Don't feel bad. This is the job. This is part of it. You got to figure it out, man. This is life.
Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that the Mets won a series for you. The bad news is that you have game 2 again. We had repliers saying, can we just give Jerry a different game? Can we just cut him some slack? You said no.
No, because the Mets are winning. And that's the bottom line. They're winning series. It just happens to be the game 2 curse, which I will wear because I'm a team player. And that's what it takes sometimes.
Jerry is a team player. Before we tell you guys what happened in this Mets Brewers series, we just want to thank today's sponsor, which is Greg Morris Cards. They are the most trusted sports card seller on the planet. They sell over 80,000 sports cards every month, which is over 2,000 a day, exclusively on eBay. GMC sells baseball cards from every era, pre-war, post-war, modern. You should go get yourself like a Nick Plummer or a Patrick Mazeika because those are future stars of the game. You guys know that by now. But why do people trust GMC for buying cards? Well, Greg Morris and his team hand grade every single card that they sell, and buyers have been trusting Greg's grades for years. If Greg says the card is mint, you know the card is mint. Go to gregmorriscards.com to see their inventory, and they want to give you $10 in free cards just for hearing about us on Jomboy Media. So go to their website, gregmorriscards.com, find the cards that you want, and if you win the eBay auction, message them with the code Jomboy to get $10 off your order. That is gregmorriscards.com.
Nice. $10 free? That's like 8 Jerry Blevins cards. And maybe two Jeremy Blevins cards.
Oh, those I think are rarer. You know? It's probably not even one. All right. Game 1 time?
Yes, sir. Let's get into it.
Let's rock it. I am very happy to do game 1 today for a variety of reasons. First inning, the Mets did their usual thing. They are a first inning offense team. Especially recently in this past month of June, they tormented Adrian Hauser in the first inning of this one. Nimmo works a 9-pitch at bat for a double in the gap. Starling Marte finally back in the lineup. He follows up with a single, and Pete grabs RBI number 58 on the season with an RBI single of his own. McNeil gets the 3-0 green light and hits an infield ricochet off the pitcher that just dinks into the outfield for a double to bring home a run. And then Eduardo Escobar behind him follows with a productive sacrifice fly. The Mets get 3 runs, and Adrian Hauser throws 37 pitches total with 1 whiff in the first inning. That is very productive. And this would be all that Chris Bassitt needed the entire night, because something was figured out. He started attacking the zone more first pitch strikes in this game than pretty much any other start the entire season. He goes 8 innings in this start against the Brewers. No earned runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts on 109 pitches. That is what you want out of your de facto ace of the rotation. He induces clutch double plays in the 3rd, 5th, and 6th inning to escape some jams, and the Brewers were held to just 2 at-bats total with runners in scoring position. They hit into a double play both times. Pete Alonso, I jinxed him. I apologize to all our listeners. He gets caught stealing for the first time in his career. Definitely a heartbreaker for me. I let out a loud no when it happened because I knew the onslaught that was coming. But Drew Smith came in after Chris Bassitt locked down the 9th 1-2-3 for a 4-1 Mets win. They go 4 for 7 with runners in scoring position, multi-hit games for Nimmo and Alonso, and another sound victory for the Mets in game 1 of the series.
Beautiful game. Chris Bassitt, the story, obviously. Great 8 innings. That's amazing, especially, with the searching that he was doing the previous 5 starts, basically, and after the worrisome, post-game interview where he's like, I really don't know what to do. It turns out he knows what to do, and he figured it out. That's great. Another thing is Drew Smith locked it down in a 4-1 game, which is, very, very impressive. To lock that save down. Didn't have to use Edwin Diaz after that, epic, elite, 5-out save that he had in LA. That was nice. And then, Pete Alonso getting caught stealing is Jolly's fault. So I'll take every game 2 loss, and you ruined Pete Alonso's perfection.
I ruined a beautiful thing, a budding flower. You know what? I had to tell the people. I had to point out and say, look,
I like
guys,
it.
Look at the flower. And then it got ruined, wilted. Happens.
That's why we can't have nice things.
I know.
Game 2.
Fun one.
Game 2. So David Peterson versus Corbin Burns. Knew it was going to be tough right off the bat. And it didn't work out for the Mets right off the bat. Peterson allows a Dames double, and after he hits back-to-back batters in the first, when Luis Urias hits a bases-loaded single to make it 2-0 Brewers, and they would never look back. Jeff McNeil smacked a home run off Burns in the 4th, a big one to make it 3-1. And then Adames has a single and chases Peterson in the 5th. He has a very disappointing outing, goes 4 innings plus, at 4 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks, 0 homers, 73 pitches. Hasn't gone 5 innings in a start since May 23rd. He looked very rough this outing. Could have been travel, whatever the case may be. It was shaky. Jake Reed also looked terrible, leaving many pitches over the middle. He has a bad outing. Trevor Williams came in and solid. Joely Rodriguez came in and was solid. Adam Ottavino came in. Those guys combined 4 1/3, 1 inning or 1 earned run, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Very good. Nimmo adds another RBI late in the game, but it is all Brewers all the time. The Mets lose game 2 in Jerry Blevins' signature fashion, 10-2.
Brutal.
That's as long as I wanted to make that recap.
Yeah, there was a lot more you could have said, but I think that does it justice.
I will, if the people, they can hit me up if they want me to dive in like I normally would, let me know. But I kind of wanted to breeze through it because there's really not a lot to say. Peterson was shaky off the bat, even though Corbin Burns wasn't as locked in as he normally is. He ends up going 6, giving up 2. And 5 hits, no walks, of course, because that's silly. And he gets 8 punch outs. It was just kind of this the whole time. Like the Mets, here's the Mets, and then their win probability goes. And then it disappears. It disappeared for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I can promise you no Mets fans are going to be tweeting at you saying, hey, can you break down Jake Reed's innings?
Well, some people want to know why David Peterson was shaky. It was command. Once again, that's been his downfall when his stuff is still really good. He wasn't able to put the ball where he wanted to when he needed to in big spots. And then, it happens. So that was game 2.
Yeah, just a rough month of June for Peterson. He had that really good start against the Giants, and then ever since it's just kind of been a bit shaky for him. His rotation spot isn't in danger because of what we're going to talk about in game 3 here. But McNeil and Nimmo, they get multi-hit games. The rest of the lineup just kind of folds against Burns, and you can't really
not kind of.
Not kind of.
Folded.
1 for 22.
20. Yeah, 1 for 22. Not a lot of action from the offense in general. There was only 8 at bats with runners in scoring position, and they go 1 for 8, leave only 5 guys left on base. So it was a dominant win for the Brewers and a big loss for the Mets.
So that brings us to game 3. It's a battle of the young guns, Tylor Megill versus Aaron Ashby, future aces of each of their staffs, potentially, who knows. In the first, the Mets get things going again in the first inning. That's what they do. Mark Canha, who's leading off in this game, a bit of a funky lineup. I kind of liked it. He walks, Nimmo gets hit by a pitch because that's what happens to the Mets always. Lindor and Alonso, they both go down, don't make productive outs, but McNeil bails them out with a 2-out RBI single. Kind of love McNeil in the 5th hole, always putting the ball in play, always trying to get something going. I like him in that spot. Tylor Megill looked really good through the first 3 innings, first time through the order. He faced the minimum, struck out 5 batters in the minimum, and then the 4th inning, wheels just came off. Don't really know what happened there. Gives up 4 earned runs in that 4th inning, 4 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts on the night. Gives up a Yelich solo home run, and then he exits after 2 singles, signaling pain in his right shoulder. So he didn't re-aggravate his previous injury, but he probably gets a much worse injury in turn. Not very good news for Megill. We don't know the specifics of it yet. He goes through imaging today. Hopefully the news isn't that bad, but it looks like we'll be without Megill for the future time, which is very unfortunate for me. Big Megill guy here. So Chasen Shreve gets thrust into the fire, doesn't really get time to warm up, and he allows all the inherited runners to score in that short warm-up, but he does go 2 innings. He goes 1, 2, 3 in the following inning to give the bullpen a little bit of rest. And then Mark Canha in that leadoff spot feels some juice, feels some rejuvenation. He ties things up with a 2-run homer to dead center off Aaron Ashby. That makes it a 4-4 game. Seth Lugo comes in relief in the 7th inning. He goes 2 innings and absolutely dominates the Brewers. 1 hit, no walks, no earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. Since April 19th, he has a 2.31 ERA, 20 strikeouts to 3 walks, and 4 times has he gone over 1 inning. So he's been very valuable out of that pen very quietly since that Phillies blow up. So good for Seth. He's really bounced back. The Mets get another hit by pitch on Canha in the 7th. We were worried that he might get taken out of the game. Luckily, he stayed in. Alonso walks, but they fail to score. McNeil can't come through this time. Drew Smith gets the 8th. He lets up 2 hits, but he does work around them and gets a scoreless inning there. So that's clutch, because if the Brewers get a run there, they go Williams and Hader, and this becomes a very different game. Instead, in the 8th, the Brewers decide to go to Brent Suter. I don't really agree with the choice. I still think they should have went with one of their big guns who they didn't really use in this series. But nonetheless, it's good for the Mets. JD gets a single off the lefty. Guillorme reaches on a Rowdy Tellez error that he throws into left field on a double play ball. And then later on, Nick Plummer puts the ball in play. Rowdy Tellez decides to throw it to second base instead of home, allowing Marte to break late. The Mets get a run. Plummer was in an 0 for 17 slump, but he comes up big, so good for the young kid there. And then Diaz in the 9th still looked good, but a couple dink hits almost made things pretty shaky. Renfroe single, and then Tyrone Taylor bloops one down the right field line for a double. The outfield was playing back, no double, so they had to sprint in. Nick Plummer comes in, makes the throw to the cutoff man. An interesting send by their third base coach. Very aggressive. The Brewers play an aggressive brand of baseball on the base paths. It does not pay off here. Pete makes kind of not really a wide throw, but definitely not on target. But Nino makes a nice grab, whips around, slaps the tag on him just in the nick of time. The Mets nail Renfroe at home. Buck comes out because Christian Yelich is on deck, and he says, "Do you want to walk him?" And Diaz just says no. And then he strikes him out on 3 pitches, 3 nasty sliders. Yelich does not stand a chance. The Mets get a 5-4 victory. Diaz gets another save where he looks elite, and they win a very gutsy series where they were outplayed at a lot of times. They suffered a lot of injuries, and they didn't get hits in a lot of big moments, but they beat a team that they believe they are better than, and they get a clutch series win.
Big win. That was nice. 5-4, good victory. A lot of positive things. A couple of negative things, though. Tylor Megill, obviously a scary thing. Shoulder discomfort, I think, was what was put out there. I think DeComo on Twitter looked painful, but again, it could be minor muscular kind of thing. It could be just some type of spasm. Who knows what's going on? We don't need to speculate. Scary though, because he looked back. He looked fully back. The Brewers are in trouble because their offense is not very good. Rowdy Tellez made that was a really bad play.
Very uncharacteristic. He had no errors on the season, and then he made 2 horrible plays in the same inning.
I don't even think that was an error, just a poor judgment. That's yeah. So that was tough. Eduardo Escobar was MIA. Turns out that his is a medical issue that they can't talk about under the HIPAA violation rules, which basically means it's medical. We don't just talk about it publicly. It's privacy. It is an issue that he's facing. So again, no reason to speculate there. We'll know more most likely today. That's what I'm going to guess. We'll see. Mark Canha looked good in the leadoff spot. Like
real good.
He's like a chameleon, man. Wherever he goes in that lineup, he kind of rolls. He had a big homer, a good one to right center. Lugo, you said, looked great. Drew Smith, solid. And then Diaz looked really good. You know, you're going to have that weak contact. You're going to get those bloops. But that was a good W. I listened to the radio because I was driving. Oh yeah. Also, my drive went through Canada.
Awesome.
Because I was in Detroit, you know, on the northwest side of Lake Erie, and I just plugged it in. I got to save an hour by going through Canada, which was fun.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So here's my question. Here's a question I want to put out to you. I drove through Niagara Falls at night.
Scary.
I had never been there.
That's
I didn't
cool.
see it, didn't hear it, had all the signs for it. You know, I've got it. It's just like Niagara Falls here. I see it like on the map. Have I been to Niagara Falls?
I mean, I don't think you have, man. You didn't see it.
But I have.
I mean, you've been around it. Were you in the water with a raincoat? Because I feel like if not, then you haven't. But I mean, it might be on your way back now. So who knows?
I'm not driving that thing
back.
You
could.
You're right. Shoot. I'm gonna knock on wood real quick. Yeah.
What if it's a Shea Station?
This is the conversation. Have I been to Niagara Falls? Technically, yes.
I think you can tell people.
I haven't seen the falls.
Yeah. Because if you go and you tell someone at a party, hey, I went to Niagara Falls and I asked for a picture, what are you gonna do?
I didn't take any photos. I'm more of I'm in the moment, you know. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm in the moment. I don't want to distract and take away from that the majesty that is the falls.
Wow, very convenient. I can also just make a Photoshop of you. Falls. Very convincing.
Dude, that's so that was another thing. But I listened to it and it was a wild game. Very good. Really the McGill thing was pretty scary. I watched the replay this morning. Guillorme playing third. When Shreve comes in, he makes a decision to try to get a double play. Not a bad decision. But the play at first wasn't even close. I don't know. So he could have gone home there. Maybe that would have been, you know, in hindsight, it's easier to say that, but he tried to shut it down. Aggressive mistakes, whereas Rowdy's was a mental mistake.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a mistake, be aggressive. That's the way to do it.
It was kind of a tough inning for Shreve too. I think he got like 3 or 4 ground balls and a bunch of them were just in the wrong spot based on where we were shifted. So, I mean, he did what he usually does as bread and butter, but
he looked good, but the results aren't great. And it didn't help Tyler's, you know, overall numbers because Tyler was dominant, looking great. 97, 98, 99. That slider was good. Yeah, man, just it looked like maybe one pitch, maybe the pitch before. Yeah. And then he was like, that's too much. It's pain.
Yeah. That last fastball he threw was 92.5. So I think you could tell something was completely off at that.
Yeah. Moment. I think he might've felt it the pitch before. And then, you know, Trevor, we talked about it. Trevor May kind of opened up a lot, especially on the Rose rotation, where he talks about where pitchers are and what it feels like to pitch through pain. And then there's a switch where you're toughing it out, trying to do the best you can, you know, it's your job, whatever. And then there's, you know, I've gone too far. And I think Tyler didn't hit there that pitch before if he was hurt. I tried to watch it again and replay it, but then he was like, I can't do that again. So.
Yeah. And I think Hef made it very clear to the guys, don't try to muscle through. Like, I think Scherzer set a great example, honestly, when his injury came about, because he immediately knew signal to the staff and said, I'm coming out. Like, I think knowing your body and knowing when something's off, like, is very
he's like,
important.
I don't want
Tyler
to
made the
try to
mature
throw
decision.
another one. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think he had a choice. I don't think he could have thrown it, which was the scary part. But yeah, just a good series. The Brewers are in trouble, dude. The Cardinals are the real deal. They're the real deal, man. They got a really good team. They're getting Flaherty back. Talked about it on Baseball Today with our boy Trevor Plouffe, who you also shared.
Yeah, we took it over this
fill
week,
in
man.
duties. That's right.
Pretty cool.
The Cardinals are for real, and the Brewers are. They look lost, kind of. Their offense is sputtering. Their rotation is kind of decimated a little bit. But yeah, man, it was a good series. The as Jake talks about the sandwich games, the two bread games for the Mets were great. They won the series. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, so we got good and bad injury news all over the roster. Starling Marte got hit by another pitch. He actually made a pinch running appearance in Game 3. That was about the only thing he could do, so it was actually nice to get him in the fold there. After the hit by pitch game, he said, I felt a little limited and a little tight in my ability to swing. Maybe give it another day. This was after Game 2. So he does not expect to be out more than one additional day. So hopefully, if you're a Mets fan, you see him in the lineup tonight, everything is okay. Eduardo Escobar, you mentioned he was not available yesterday due to a non-workplace event. We'll probably know more today. Showalter with HIPAA laws could not reveal more. Hopefully everything's okay there. Good news on the Max Scherzer front. He apparently aced his latest test on Thursday on his way back from injury, a 3-inning, 50-pitch simulated game that went well as anticipated. So he could be making a rehab start soon, maybe at AA Binghamton, where James McCann is. He made his first rehab game yesterday. Went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, not ideal, but he did play 6 innings at catcher, so hopefully he's on his way back as well. I mean, Tomas Nido, though, has done a pretty good job in his wake. 387 with runners in scoring position this season. He had another RBI in Game 3 as well, and he had a great catch. I know you were listening on the radio, but he made a great catch on a foul pop-up that nearly got away from him. Just turned the glove, grabbed it. Very cool, calm, and collected. I feel very secure with Tomas Nido back there. I think he's done a really good job.
I agree. Shout out to Nido. He is, gosh, I mean, what do you want? You want a catcher who can handle the pitching staff and enhance your defense and pitching. That's what he does. And he's not hitting terrible. I think he's still right around 250.
Yeah, he's a 250
hitter. But even more so, he's clutch. He's clutch. Runners in scoring position. That's what you want. That's what you want. And he's doing it. He's a catcher. Like, if nobody's on base, either hit a home run and jog around the bases or go sit back down and relax, because your job is hard. So take your time, man. Pick your spots.
Yeah, I mean, runners in scoring position. McNeil's now 407 hitting on the year. McNeil's third in the NL for batting average with a 324 mark. Edwin Diaz, when he makes an appearance in games this season, the Mets are 25-1, which is a crazy stat as well. A lot of good stuff to take away from this series. Like I said before,
Nimmo made an amazing catch too.
He did. Yeah, I think that was Game 1, right?
Game 1. That was a great catch. I wanted to give that some love.
Yeah, compared to where he was at in 2020 in center field, it just looks like a completely different player out there. It's incredible.
And the last thing is, and we heard it a little bit on the broadcast last night, fan favorite Tommy Hunter, a Jerry Blevins favorite, the very likable Tommy Hunter. If you don't know who Tommy is, give a listen or watch the video. We should probably tweet that out on Shea Station of him, his post game after he got a base hit.
His interview.
You want to see the love of baseball and the real joy of a guy that's had an amazing career, very, very good career. Talk about getting a big league hit. Like, it's a beautiful thing, but he's been dominating. I talked to him when he signed. He's had 14 strikeouts and only 1 walk in AAA with a 2.08 ERA in his last 5 games. Pitching well. If something goes down with our pitchers, with McGill, it's probably going to be him, and then we'll make an adjustment on the rotation, that kind of thing. But good for him.
Yeah, Tommy Hunter, a veteran.
Coming off back surgery. Yeah, a second back surgery.
A second back surgery, and how he's 38 years old. So that's a pretty incredible comeback for Tommy Hunter.
Easy. 38's not that old.
Sorry. 38, he's young as the day. Sorry. But no, he was the guy that was really excited to be a Met last year, and it's a shame that like his time was so brief with the club. Because in like the 3 games that he pitched, he was like very fun to watch in all of them. And the Mets could always use bullpen help. Bullpen's been pretty stable as of late. They kind of won the series of bullpens in this set with the Brewers, which was pretty impressive as well. But having Tommy Hunter back in the fold is very nice.
I still don't know why they didn't pitch Devin Williams there.
They didn't use Hader once in the series. They didn't use Devin Williams in the 8th there. They brought in a lefty for JD Davis, which I didn't understand at all. Just a very perplexing decision. But some Mets even said in the post game, they got a little lucky in that 8th inning. Some things just turned their way, a couple errors, a bad choice by Tellez, the Brewers not using the best pitcher for that situation. A couple things just went their way, and that got them a win.
Yeah, wild. Craig Counsell just, I don't know.
Kind of a stinker.
But you want to get into the apple of my eye?
Yeah, I do, Jerry. Yeah,
I hear the chimes. I don't really, but they're in the background. Audio jack, enter here.
He's here somewhere.
I really do hear it. There's a few candidates. Kind of a weird series. There's really only 2 guys. Mark Canha had a good series, 1 for 6, 2 runs, that home run, 2 RBI, 2 walks, a stolen base, hit by pitch, on base machine. But the 2 guys are Jeff McNeil, 4 for 10, 2 runs, a double, a homer, 4 RBI, a walk, big RBI in spots too. And then Chris Bassitt, that is the apple of my eye. Seabass himself, 8 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, a 3-hit, 1 walk, 7 punch out performance in a moment. It's an amazing singular performance, but put into context of where he was, where the Mets are, what kind of thing we need. And now with the scare with McGill and the possibilities of us needing Seabass to be himself even more, you feel a lot better about where you are. He looked elite. He looked like himself. He looked like the Seabass we've come to know and love.
Yeah, I mean, I loved seeing the emotion from Chris, getting the results he finally wanted. Those double plays were so massive. That takes this 8-inning shutout to maybe a 6 innings, 3 earned runs. You still take that, but being able to stay cool, calm, and composed and still attacking the zone in those tough spots was really important. And I think Chris did a really good job of that. 1 walk was awesome. He was really controlling the zone. Like I said in the game recap, a lot of first pitch strikes, which I think was the thing that they figured out. And just exactly what we needed. We've been kind of waiting for Chris Bassitt to step back into the spotlight. Luckily, Taijuan Walker has been very, very good. Cookie Carrasco's had some great outings to kind of, help ease that a little bit. But having Chris Bassitt at this level too makes this rotation almost whole without 2 huge pieces in it. So Chris Bassitt having that outing was absolutely vital. I'm going to go with the bat because I went with I think arms in my last like 3 apples or something. I've been doing a lot of pitchers, so I got to switch it up a little bit. I do want to give love to Canha. His home run yesterday was absolutely vital to the Mets winning that series. Him, like you said, perfect word, chameleon. Kind of put him anywhere. He's been batting 5th. He batted 2nd. He batted 1st. You can kind of put him anywhere and he'll be productive. Gets the hit by pitch. Stole a base, which I loved. Got a really good jump. Caught the, I think Brad Boxberger just sleeping on him. Stole his first base of the year. Mine's going to be Jeff McNeil. So clamps for Jeff. Jeff had a lot of clutch hits in this set. He goes 4 for 10, 2 runs, a double, home run, 4 RBI, and a walk, kind of doing it all. And this was kind of big for me because we had a rare cold series from Alonso, if you can call it that. Still had some RBI, still had some good hits in here. And Lindor, I know that fractured finger is still bothering him. He just hasn't looked right ever since that Dodgers set where it happened. And McNeil batting 5th kind of had to bail these guys out more than once. And he completely filled the task. Homered off Corbin Burns, which was very cool. 4 RBI in the series was big. In a series that the Mets did not score a ton of runs. They scored 4 in the first, 2 in the second, and 5 in the last one. So that's 11 runs in 3 games, and McNeil's responsible for over a third of that. So great series for him. You don't think of him as a 5-hitter, but a guy with a 324 batting average, that's a guy I want with runners in scoring position. I think that 5-hole can really be a home for him. And I think it showed because in the 8th inning, or the 7th inning of game 3, The Brewers were probably thinking about walking Alonso, maybe, but with Jeff McNeil protecting him, I feel like they were kind of scared off from that idea. So they did pitch around him. They got him to 3-2, and then, Boxberger just threw one away completely. But at the same time, that took it from an intentional walk, which Pete leads the league in, to, an actual competitive at bat where maybe he could have got a pitch to hit. That 3-2 pitch, or that 3-1 pitch, which went right down the middle, Pete decided to take. That's a pitch that Pete can attack and probably send to the right center gap for a hit. So that's the kind of stuff that I want to see going forward. Somebody protecting Pete in that lineup. And I think McNeil stepped into that role very well. So he gets my apple. 2 good apples for our guys.
I agree. 2 good apples. They're good apple. Isn't that a thing people say?
Yeah.
Good apple.
Chris Bassitt's a good apple.
Yeah, Jeff McNeil, man. So valuable. Like what he's been doing for the Mets offensively, defensively. Awesome. I think we get into the probables, or do you want to talk about any more notes?
I think we can run it. I will preface the probables by saying that the Marlins are in kind of a rotational flux right now. They're down Elieser Hernandez, they're down Jesus Luzardo, and they don't know what's going on with Pablo Lopez. His bullpen did not go very well. So as of right now, they have 2 starters that are probable to go in this series. Trevor Rogers just pitched, so he probably won't appear in this series unless it's game 4. They have 2 to be announced, so we're kind of going to work around that and see what we got. But yeah, let's preview it.
Looking ahead, the Miami Marlins, the fish with arms, as our boys on Talking Baseball would say. Don't know what it means, but I'm for it. Yeah, this is a pitching-dominated team. We got a 4-game set. Game 1, Cookie Carrasco and his 3.93 ERA going up against the aforementioned to be determined. We don't know who's going to take the ball. Pablo Lopez is still day-to-day with his wrist. Miami Marlins, he took a comebacker off his throwing hand. So the Marlins have had to replace Elieser Hernandez, Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Rogers has come back. Cookie struggled in Anaheim in his last start, 4 2/3, 5 earned runs, 9 hits, 1 walk, 7 K. That is an elite offense that he faced out there. It's a little bit different, a little bit less experience. So we'll look to take game 1 against a guy that might be wearing a Marlins jersey. Game 2, Taijuan Walker and his 3.08 ERA against one of the replacements, Braxton Garrett, and his 4 ERA. Pete Alonso, JD Davis are 0 for 3 combined against Garrett, and no other Met, shockingly, has faced this gentleman. Brian De La Cruz, Ernesto De La Cruz. Remember, who's Ernesto De La Cruz?
Oh, that is a Princess. No, the name's slipping me right now.
It's from Coco.
Oh,
it's from Coco.
Wait, why was I was thinking of Inigo Montoya. I don't know why my
I was just. It could be. I was just getting into my dad moment. A little
good
Pixar
roll there, by the way. Good.
Thank you. De La Cruz is 4 for 8 against Taijuan Walker, and Taijuan has a 2.59 ERA in 41 2/3 innings over his last 7 starts. Really, really stepping up for this Mets team that's needed him. And Braxton Garrett has a really good against a very, very dominant lineup in Houston. And he went 5 2/3, no runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 5 K. He looked really good. He looks like a promising arm. Shocker. He's going to be a Marlin. He's probably going to be good.
Yeah.
Game 3, Chris Bassitt, Seabass, coming off the apple of my eye and his 4.01 ERA, looking to dip that into the 3s against who might be the front runner of the NL Cy Young in Sandy Alcantara and his 1.68 ERA. JD is 4 for 10 off of him. McNeil is 7 for 23 with a homer off Sandy. We've got some history. He's on another level right now. This is the cream of the crop, I believe. I mean, like him and Shane McClanahan and Nestor Cortez they're the best of the best right now in MLB. Sandy's been great. But Jorge Soler is 1 for 5 with a home run off Seabass. But he looked great in his last outing. As we talked about this, he went 8 shutout. The Marlins are just 8-5 in Sandy starts this year, despite his insane numbers. He has a 2.82 ERA in 10 starts against the Mets. We've hit him around a little bit to 2.82 ERA. But guys are familiar with it. This is going to be a division foe. This is a guy that you faced before, so there's a little bit of familiarity, which is advantageous for the hitter. But when you're that good, and he is on top of his game. I'd love to see him have a little hiccup.
Yeah, me too.
Just give up, a 6 spot and 4 1/3. Who knows? Anything on game 3?
I mean, I'm conflicted because Sandy Alcantara was my pick in the offseason for the dark horse for the Cy Young. I got Corbin Burns last year. I kind of want to be right again. Think it would be fun. And we're going to see Sandy forever. He's got this 6-year extension now. He's going to be in this division for a long time. So you're going to get to know him, Mets hitters. You're going to get to know him. Hopefully he does have a hiccup because he looked very, very good against the Phillies last time out. Kind of got yanked, I think, a little bit prematurely.
Gosh, that
was his game to finish, I think. And then the Marlins ended up blowing it anyway. So I think they learned their lesson. They'll let him go as long as he wants.
I love him. He's a great pitcher. I really enjoy watching him do his thing. He's you're that good at your craft. He's got 100-mile-an-hour fastball that he paints, like, just wild. Game 4, David Peterson looking to have a bounce back. He's had kind of a rough, still has a nice 3.6 ERA against the return of game 1. We don't know. Another to be determined. We will find out who will be donning the rubber against David Peterson in game 4. Peterson has allowed 10 earned runs in his last 15 innings pitched after a really, really good start to his season. He's kind of had a little bit of a season in flux. He went 5 innings with 2 earned runs in his lone career start against Miami. So that's a decent one. And the Marlins have a lot of rotation questions. Obviously, we have 2 spots in this 4-game set that we have no idea. And we're going to face an elite Sandy Alcantara. Should be a win.
Yeah.
Gotta be, this is at home. So you're going to want to take 3 of 4 to win the series. But who knows, man? This is a really good pitching team. I pulled it up. Some of the guys we got to be looking for that are hitting really well. Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah.
He's I don't know. He's crushing homers. He's playing good D. He's doing a really good job. And Garrett Cooper is the other guy I wanted to highlight. He's been great. He's DH. He was a first baseman. He's come into his own. He's kind of quietly been a really good ball player his whole career. Had some injury woes, but he is, doing really well. And then they have John Birdie off the bench, who's been hitting really well. He's a
Met killer. We know
he is a Met killer. He's got your moniker. He's the guy. So that's why I wanted to highlight him. And then they have a decent back end of their bullpen. But they're a pitching team. They got Anthony Bass, Tanner Scott. But it's all about their starters. Richard Blyer. Great video on Richard Blyer out there on the internet, on the YouTube.
Foolish baseball. There you go.
Foolish. Yeah.
Very
foolish.
Nice. I'll let him know you saw it.
Well, dude. I mean, you opened the gateway for me to be a YouTube baseball consumer.
There's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah. But this is a very winnable series. This will be a good one. We've got our rotation set up. So
definitely agree. I think you mentioned Garrett Cooper. I was going to talk about him too.
Yeah, go for it.
We talk about all the wonders that the DH has done for a lot of National League teams. It's basically really preserved the career of Garrett Cooper, who has always been good, like you said, but just could not stay on the field because of injury. And I think him being off the field the majority of the time and just being allowed to hit has kind of let him stay in motion and stay consistent. So that's been really good because some of their marquee guys and pieces haven't been getting it done. Avisel Garcia is having a nightmare season, a 576 OPS. Jacob Stallings, they acquired him for defense, but we knew that he could hit a little bit. He hasn't found it either. Jesus Aguilar has been kind of hot as of lately, got that OPS plus over 100. The big guys you got to look out for are the guys you mentioned. Jazz Chisholm, Jorge Soler has been good, and then Garrett Cooper. Bullpen's been kind of shaky. Bullpen really had a tough time in that game 2 against the Phillies, but they ended up winning that game. They blew game 1, they blew game 3. So if the Mets are looking to stage some late comebacks, this is actually the team to do it against because it's going to be tough to score off these starters, the ones that are healthy. Sandy Alcantara has been very, very good. They're probably going to dodge Daniel Castano, which is good. He's a new lefty that the Marlins have. They just have a farm full of arms, and he looked really good against the Phils. I think he went 6 shutty for them.
Got a lot of arms in the arm barn.
In the arm barn. That's what we're supposed to call it, right?
I don't know.
Mets dodging Pablo Lopez is huge. He was having a really good year. Hopefully he's okay. I don't want him to be injured, obviously.
Yeah, that comebacker, it's probably a precautionary thing. He doesn't feel great coming. The X-rays were negative. Yeah, the X-rays were negative. So they're probably just giving him some time for the swelling to go down because, holding a baseball, manipulating a baseball, all the like tendons and ligaments and muscles in your hand really get, stretched and pushed to the limit. So if there's swelling in there, it's a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
I know a little bit about it. So yeah, you just got to wait it out.
I've heard. Yeah, and this is our first meeting with the Marlins of the year, which is kind of weird. Kind of a weird schedule.
What a very weird schedule. But we're getting them, we're getting them at a good time if you're trying to win some ball games. So in a 4-game set, if you could have dodged Sandy Alcantara, that would have been ideal. But also, if you're a fan of baseball, you want to watch this guy do his thing. So
yeah, that is going to be a good game to watch, especially if Bassitt is back like we think. And I just want to conclude my thoughts on today's episode by talking about something I talked about way back on the week of May 22nd, because I have it pulled up right here. I highlighted a 22-game stretch where the Mets had to play the Giants at Oracle Park. Then they had 6 at home against the Phillies in Washington, and then the West Coast Gauntlet, and then hosting the Brewers. And I said, if the Mets go 11-11, if they play 500 ball during this tough stretch, I consider that a victory. They ended up going 14-8. They still lost a ton of games in the standings because the Braves went on that crazy win streak, but they went 14-8 during probably one of the toughest parts of their entire schedule for the year. So if you are still in crisis mode about this team, even after that win last night, still feel good. These guys are playing good ball. They went 9-6 during this Braves win streak. They played a good brand of baseball. We knew that the Braves weren't going to be dormant forever. They're creeping up. They got the Cubs, who have just lost like 9 games in a row. They're probably going to keep winning, but hey, if we keep winning too, it doesn't matter. That's my mentality. Great
point. The Mets are playing really good baseball. They've got some injury woes. You deal with it. This is part of baseball. It's part of the long season. The Braves are just, they hit a great part of their schedule and they're dominating. And like you said, we knew they were going to be good. Their guys have stepped up in a big way. The lead in the division has shrank, but again, you don't care about that yet. You care about what product your team is doing, how they're playing, what they look like on the field, because the Mets look great. If you put it in a vacuum, this is what you want to watch. They're playing really good baseball. So whatever happens, they're going to have games together. So something's going to shake out, but we knew it wasn't going to be a cruise the whole time. But the Braves made up a ton of ground and are making up a ton of ground with 14 consecutive wins.
Yeah, it's up to 14.
Yeah. So, and then like you said, they have a very poor Cubs team that they could win another 3. They actually should have won 2. I can't remember who it was that they started the streak on, but they lost a game to another subpar team before they started the streak. So, whatever the case may be, all you got to do is worry about the Mets, and the Mets look great. We do have some injury concerns. We'll find out about Eddie Escobar hopefully soon. We'll hear about Tyler McGill hopefully soon. We'll get Scherzer back soon. We got DeGrom on the horizon. Is he coming back? When? There's some hope. It's great to see him in the dugout.
Yes.
Makes me happy just knowing that he's around the guys, just knowing his spirits are lifted. And then tune in to the pre and post games this weekend. See your boys while your other boy is out in Atlantic City, winning big at blackjack,
gambling away my fortune,
being the whale that he is.
It should be a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah, make sure you take funny pictures of Jerry on TV and then post them and then tag him in it for sure.
I've had a rough day. Take it easy on me. This has been another travel day for Jerry.
How can it be a rough day when you went to Niagara Falls? It's so beautiful there.
I love it. That's a great one. That's perfect. It's a good way to end the show. High notes.
We will see you on Tuesday to talk about the Mets Marlins and preview the Mets Astros series that comes up right after a 2-game set. Should be fun. We'll see you then.
Yes, sir. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.